What's going on, world? We are here with one of the most talented, one of the dopest, one of the most spiritual, inspirational, talented artists of our time. I can safely say that. Maimouna Youssef, aka Mumu Fresh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for having finally, I should say, after kind of paying, looking at you from afar and just kind of observing, like you're one of those artists that you take time out and you kind of watch and see where they're going,
Right. Where's all this headed?
Yeah. A few failed attempts to connect with you in the past, but glad to have you here on our little platform.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, first, I got to get one thing out the way, and I was doing just like a tiny bit of research or whatever you want to call it, and I saw that you had at one point a battle with Kool G Rap, a freestyle battle with Kool G Rap.
I don't know if I would call it a battle, but at the Dave Chapelle Block Party, there was like a cipher.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I was a teenager. I was scared to get in it, but I was like, but I can't miss this moment. This is like a priceless hip hop moment.
Right.
Kweli was in the cipher, Black Thought, Kool G Rap. I feel like Big Daddy Kane was definitely there.
You mentioned Kane.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I was like, you know how you play double dutch, you're trying to figure out when to get in, when to jump in.
Right.
Yeah, I jumped in and, hopefully it was dope. I don't even remember. I felt like I blacked out after that moment. I was so excited.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, I did it. You know what I mean? Right. One of those like childhood dreams come true. Like, I can't even believe I'm here. This is like my hip hop dreams come true. So yeah.
So I had a similar moment recently with KRS-One. And let's just say that I was so hyped up that my breath control and my hypeness was out of sync. And about after a few bars, I'm like, yo, this is different right now. So I like jumped out the double dutch. I jumped right out.
Jump in, jump out.
Yeah, definitely. So let's jump right into it. Queen of the Culture, your new album. First of all, I just gotta say, and I said this, I remarked this on your Instagram.
Yeah.
The rollout on that album was A1. I mean, I don't think that we've seen a rollout in I can't think of a rollout as immaculate as that.
That means so much to me. Like for a legit independent artist, that means so much to me. Thank you.
Yeah, because we were just like, well, I mean, I'm in my head all the time, so I think we, like, even in my own head. But I was like, who's backing her? Who's, what's? I had so many questions, but
that's so dope.
Yeah,
that's so dummy. Like, guess what, dummy? They think we did a good job.
Yeah, no, he did a great job. I mean, most albums nowadays you hear by accident, or you might miss something completely and you find it 2 years later, or you have to hear it from a friend or something like that. So I have to commend you on that.
That's amazing. I appreciate that feedback, because as independent artists, you never know what's working and what's not working. Like, I just get into my creative bag and decide like what I want to do, what's possible, and we create, we build, we throw it against the wall. We don't know if it sticks or not. The most fulfilling part is that we do what we really want to do. Like, I feel very proud of all of the content that we created. Like, it's very meaningful. Yeah. It totally stimulates the nerd in me. And that's what makes me most excited, and I never know if people are gonna get it. Like, I'm such a nerd. I'm in my head all the time. I'm just like, I don't know if y'all gonna like it. So when it's actually received, it's like, oh, shit, it worked.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Speaking of being received, the title is profound, especially for this period of time.
Yeah.
What were you trying to say? What were you trying to tell people?
Yeah. Well, for one, we covered a lot of genres that it's all encompassing. Like, it is culture, right? And parts and pieces of culture that have not always been accepted. There's a newfound acceptance, right? There's a part of culture that has been sanctioned, you know, that we're allowed to celebrate right now. But there was a long time where so much of our culture was looked at as low class and ghetto and too poverty stricken. You know, you had to assimilate if you wanted to be anything. And now we're at a point where we are unapologetically really celebrating that part of us that makes us really unique and really special. And we're finding not just the beauty in it, but the value in it, you know?
Right.
Because for a long time, I would go all over the world and I would say, man, everybody in the world values Black culture except for Black people. Like, what is that about? Like, why don't we value ourselves? Right. You know, why do we get talked into the okie doke that we have to be everything but ourselves in order to be good enough, half good, in order to be, you know, to be able to take care of our families, to be able to make a living. We have to be something else other than what we are. We have to change the way we speak, change the way our hair grows out of our head. We got to change the way we interact with one another, you know? And I'm just so happy to see that time ending, you know? I mean, you can look back into any record I've done in my career. I put out my first record in high school in 2003, you know? Okay. You can look back to any record I've ever done. I've been saying the same thing, you know? Yeah. But sometimes it takes for the culture to shift to be able to even receive it. And so I'm really happy to see the culture shifting in such a way where it's being well received. And the next generation that comes after me, they're going to be better because of it. And so Queen of Culture is like, it's like everything you thinking in your mind that you was scared to say because you might get fired from your job.
Right, definitely.
We're going to say it and we're going to play it and we're going to feel it. You know, it's unsanitized soul. That's so important. The sanitization of soul music kills the spirit. And the spirit is what got us through every struggle we've ever had as a people. That's what we can't get rid of, you know? Yeah. So
I almost felt I don't want to put words in your mouth, but at some points I felt like it was almost like a coup. Because, you know, hip hop is going in a certain direction on a commercial level, and a lot of people want to see it at bare minimum us be able to celebrate the full breadth of who we are. Yeah. And sometimes we don't see that happening. And also, you know, there's even, and I don't want to get too deep into the woods, but even a hidden hand of sorts, you know, through algorithms and things that you don't see. You know, back in the day, you would always have a rap video and there'd be like some white guy in a suit and he was laughing behind a desk. But now it's almost like algorithms and artificial intelligence, and you get shadow banned, and you know all these factors that lead me to believe sometimes that we have to kind of wage war on different fronts in different ways, not against ourselves per se, but just against the forces that may want to only promote certain aspects of Blackness.
Oh, yeah. And I think we have to seek it. We have to seek ourselves. You know, we have to want to support each other. I mean, I love to see so many Black content creators that are showing the diversity in our culture. We're not monolithic. Yeah. You know, the way I grew up, like I've never seen myself represented on screen. You know, the way I grew up, normally the person that would play a character like me or like my sister or my mom or my dad or my cousin, like they would be some type of caricature of like overzealous Black nationalism, you know, without really understanding how we came to be, you know what I mean? Like my parents was in the first resurrection with Elijah Muhammad, and then they, you know, became Sunni Muslim, but they was also, you know, I'm affiliated, you know, with cats I know from the Yoruba temple and from the Akan and from the Moorish Science Temple and from the, you know, from the Indian Center. Like I'm affiliated with so many different cultures, and it's a lot of us that were not a part of mainstream American culture growing up. You know what I mean? You look at our passports, you see all our long African or Hebrew or whatever names, you know, it's something to that story that's not often told.
Yeah, yeah. I have to credit our mutual friend Jacques Philippe for me learning how to say your name. You know, you always said it perfectly.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. On your album, Rap God is one of my favorite songs.
Good.
It's when you talk your talk.
You know? Yeah.
What made you write that song and with that title especially?
You know, DJ Dummy, I have to tell you that he's always challenging me in the studio. He's always challenging me. Probably on both albums, the last Vintage Babies album too, like the song that's the hardest is because I was really, convicted and upset about something. I was telling him this and this and that, and he wasn't agreeing with me. Okay. I was getting real mad. He was like, "Don't get mad, put it on the track." Right. So I was like, "Fine," Right. So he's always, I love that about him, that he challenges me and he instigates me. He likes to see me be in that spirit, in that mode where I'm just like, "Oh, word? Oh, y'all gonna, hold up. I don't even do no bragging, but if I did,
right,
what it would sound like."
Got you.
Y'all don't want me to brag. So yeah, that song came about because DJ Dummy is an instigator.
Okay, I like instigators. You need that sometimes. They push you in places you wouldn't necessarily go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. That's what's up. You and D Smoke, again, like I love D Smoke. He's just so talented and humble and creative and lyrical, all those things. He's almost like, I don't know if I'm out of line saying this, but y'all like the male female version of each other, almost like.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Working together was like super easy, very compatible, like sharing stories of family. Cause we had like a 4-hour, powwow, chatting it up, talking about it, telling, like, we didn't know each other before we got in the studio. Okay. So we had to like get acquainted. I need to know who your mama is, who your daddy is, how you grow up, what you used to eat for breakfast on Saturdays. We went through the whole thing, and to really get to know each other so that we could really create from an honest place. And I was like, man, he's definitely kindred spirit. Yeah.
Dope. Now, one thing I also saw about you is, your foray at the Dave Chapelle Block Party was meeting Lauryn Hill. Did you ever get to meet her? And how was she an inspiration for you?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, we know Lauren's an inspiration. Look, there she go right there. Lauren's an inspiration for everybody. I mean, all Black girls I knew growing up like wanted to be Lauryn. I used to write her raps down in a notebook when I was a kid and just be like trying to figure out like, how is she this dope? How did she come up with that? Like, you know what I mean? Rapping her lyrics in the mirror. I remember the first time one of my mom's friends was playing the score in a car. We was on our way to the Gullah, Geechee Islands. And listened to the score all the way down. And I was like, what is this? It's amazing. Right. I basically hitchhiked my way to the Dave Chapelle Block Party and finessed my way on stage because I really wanted to get to meet Lauryn Hill. And I knew she was going to be there. And I didn't know when else I would see her. That was like the Fugees reunion. And so we got to talk briefly and she got to see me perform. So I was like really, really excited about that. And then later on, I will open up for her a few times. When I ended up touring with Common, we did a show with her at Red Rocks Amphitheater. And then with Beverly Bond for Rock Like a Girl as a part of the hip hop portion of Black Girls Rock. Okay. I opened for her then. So we've definitely had a chance to chop it up a few times, so it's been a blessing. Yeah.
That's what's up. What's things have changed considerably since those days. What's your take on hip hop now? How do you feel about it in this day and age?
I feel like it's wide open. I feel like it's so much possibility. I feel I think we're in a good place just because we have so many options and because of independent music, you can find what you're looking for if you look for it. We know what the mainstream is going to do. We know what the agenda is. We know what the narrative that, that's going to be pushed is. We get that. And it's very political. It didn't just start. It's been going on for quite a while, right? Yeah. We're not confused about what that is. However, independent art is allowing us to try and level the playing field a little bit more and give more options for hip hop artists to be authentic if they're courageous. To be authentic and to really rap again. Rap again. I love to see rappers really rap again. Because I know if it's really good if it inspires me to rap. If I listen to it, it's cool. I can just, clean up to it. All right, that's fine. But if I listen to it and you make me stop what I'm doing and go get a pen and paper,
right.
you know what I mean, go secretly battle you, right?
Yeah, right.
I know, like, that's good hip hop, you know. And I have artists that do that, and I'm always happy when I come across those artists. And there's a lot of female artists that are really rapping their asses off. And I have a online university called Mooniversity, and I mentor artists, young rappers, especially. I love to mentor young girls because I like to just show them what their options are that they may not realize that they have in terms of imagery, content. You know, it's a lot of people, artists who have never branched out in terms of concept. Like, so I like to challenge them. Like, you should be able to write a song about anything that you can think about, anything that you can speak about, anything you've ever experienced. Like, you know, and I think it's more challenging, you know, but I think we should, like, Stevie Wonder is my inspiration when it comes to that. He has a song for every human emotion, every event that you're going to ever have in your life. He has a song that will be the soundtrack, right? Yeah. And I think Dead Prez is another rap group like that. Yeah. Like definitely. The first time I heard Dead Prez was the song "They Schools Can't Teach Us," right? And I was like, damn, that's dope. There's a rap song about school. It's like you can make, like, I just love that idea. And that's, I really always, when I'm in the studio, I want to push the envelope. What can I write about the other rappers can't write about? You know what I mean? So absolutely. How difficult is it for you, generally, you know, as an independent artist? I always look at people like you and your rollout, like I said, was to the point where I'm like, you know, is there a billionaire behind her? Like, who's that? I wish. But it's existence. Yeah, but it also leads me to think sometimes that that road is a bit bumpy. Sometimes a bit, right? Understatement. We hardly made it with all our with all our pieces still together. Yeah. How do you stay encouraged? That's a big one. My fans are, they so amazing. They mad loyal. Yeah. You know, they write me all the time. You know, like when I hear that my music has been used for cancer treatment, or someone says, like this little girl the other day messaged me. She's like 17, right? She was like, I started listening to you when I was 13. I was doing bad in school, and now I'm getting straight A's. I'm doing good. I got my head on. I know what I'm about to do with my life. Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff is crazy to me. I'm like, damn, that's really dope. I've had people, a girl who was like being sex trafficked, heard one of my songs while that was happening, and was like, yo, this gave me the courage to like break free. And I mean, like, that kind of stuff make you feel like, okay, this is bigger than me. So on my worst day, when I'm tired, when an investment don't pan out, when somebody don't come through and they say they're going to, you know what I mean? When you just feel like, cause I'm a mom too. So some days I'm like, look, I'm too tired for all this. Yeah. But on those days when somebody say, yo, you can't quit, you changing lives. Like, then I'm like, it's bigger than me. And I gotta keep creating and keep shining my light, keep doing what God put me on earth to do. Definitely. Well, I'm glad you did. You also have an incredible performance. Your Tiny Desk performances are legendary. Legendary. And you were doing things that I would actually see much later down the line in other people. Some of the, you know, the loops and things of that sort. Yeah. I don't know if you invented that or what, but you definitely were the first person I saw do it, and then also do it like in that clubhouse environment. You know, I heard other people doing it too. But talk about the importance of the live show for you, and also, you know, hopefully this tour that you have coming up. Yeah. So first of all, I'm a live performer first. My first time on stage, I was 4 years old. Like, the studio was cool. I know I got to do it, right? But if I could just only be on stage, I would just do that. I love to be on stage. I love that moment where spirit just takes over. It's like the most freeing experience. I mean, when the whole room is just filled with this energy, where you look out into the crowd, people are laughing, crying, dancing. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, it's like church. It's like this holy experience is happening. And it's very therapeutic. It's very like, it fills me up. Like, that's a big part of my fuel. I mean, which is why the pandemic was like so tough, because we couldn't be on the stage with each other. That's a big part of my fuel. I I love to perform. I feel like it's a big part of my purpose. And you know, when I was a kid, my mom would always say, like, so she had rules of how I had to learn to sing. Like, first I had to sing straight notes. I couldn't do any embellishment, no runs or anything. And she would say, like, that's icing on the cake. Like, that's the finesse. That's the ego. But you got to start with the spirit. So hold a straight note and embody the meaning, embody the color, the tone. What are you trying to convey? What do you want your audience to feel? You know what I mean? Connect with them, be one with them, tell the story. Can you tell the story with just one note without even a word? Can you color it? Can you feather it? Can you make it big and broad and expanded and then make it small and sensitive and soft? And can you know, so she would have me doing that kind of stuff. I understand until way later, like, that's the difference. Like, she trained me up in a way that really separated me from everybody else. And so that's such a power on stage. It's because you're taking people on a journey and they're going to follow you wherever you go. It's different from when, you know, you just walking back and forth saying some rap, playing your rap in the back. You know, right. It's a whole different experience then. So with a tiny desk, it was a blessing to even be able to do it. But I was so much in my element. It was just an authentic experience for me. And so I think everybody else experienced it that way. Because when I'm on stage, I'm like, I hardly even know anybody. Like, I'm so inside of myself, you know what I mean? And then expanding the light outward, that people, they get in the jewels because I'm totally embodied. I don't know how to explain, like a cocoon or something like that. Like, it's a total spiritual process. And yeah, I'm grateful that God chose me to be able to do it. And the tiny desk was very life-changing for my career, but also for other people. Like, the first verse I did on there with Common, I was so excited about how many, I mean, it was a verse about my experience as a woman, right? But, and all women, but I got more feedback from men saying, like, wow, I've never even thought about it from that perspective. Thank you for, like, presenting that perspective. It allows me to appreciate it in a different way. And that was, like, so big, right? Because it's one thing if you just preaching to the choir and other people that already feel you. It's another thing when you're talking to someone who should be your ally, but didn't understand why, didn't even know that they were contributing to your oppression. You know what I mean? Like, in their mind, they love you. Like, what you mean? And so to really be able to meet eye to eye on one accord and, like, touch inside of that person's heart and say, look, this is what I'm saying. You feel me now? And then they say, like, yeah, I do. Damn, I didn't get it. I didn't get it all this time. You know, when I said sometimes being a woman's like being black twice. Like, I had so many men hit me up like, yo, I never thought about it like that. So it was really a blessing to connect. That's what I always want to do. I want to turn the light on. Let's just have a conversation where we're not mad with each other. We love each other, but there has to be some moment of clarity where we can connect and you feel me for real.
Yeah, and it's hard right now. It's hard to have those conversations because a lot of them take place over social media. So I actually opt out of almost every conversation because generally either people don't want to hear it or they just want to be heard. You know, it's all either one extreme or the other, and getting an honest dialogue is tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
I just tell people, don't, like, I'm not going against black women ever. I'm not going against black men either. But I will check black men very privately, like, yo, bro, like, it's not, that's not cool, or, you know, this is what's kind of they're trying to say to you, you know, because then we have beef.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to posture, you know.
And it's the worst part is when you have people who genuinely, we kind of have the same perspective. We're not even mad with each other. We really want the same things out of this. Like, let's step back and approach this a little bit different. We don't have to be, if it's not necessary. We don't have to be mad. Like, we want the same outcome, you know? Yeah,
so, I agree. You and Black Thought are working on something. Can you talk on that? Well, we talked to him about it, but we didn't know you were involved.
Yeah, he asked me. I auditioned right before the pandemic. Because, you know, we're supposed to do it last year, but he has a play that's going to be on Broadway called Black No More, and I'm one of the characters in the play. So it's really exciting. It's an incredible piece. And it's a challenge for me. And that's why I'm so excited about it, because I love it. Because I've never done Broadway before. So I'm coming from, you know, the rap world, but the Broadway piece utilizes rap, you know, in a theatrical way. So it's kind of cool. Like some of the other cast members who are like, you know, legendary. They've been doing theater for a long time. They're like, you haven't done theater before. I'm like, no, they're like, yeah, but it's dope though. I like what you got, what you bringing to the table. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing what I would do on stage at a rap concert. I'm rapping theatrically, taking the pauses, like really getting into the character. Because I mean, that's what I would do on stage. I get into my own character. And it's a great storyline. And yeah, I'm excited. You know, Black Thought is like a big brother to me. He's been mentoring me since I was a teenager, you know, stopping me from oh my God. After one of the shows we had, I was on the road with them, and my mother made him promise, don't let anything happen to my daughter, okay? If anything happens to her, I'm coming for your head. And I was trying to jump in the car with some people and go down to Congo Square, because I had read about it in school. I wanted to learn about it and stuff. He was like, hey, you are not going down there. Your mom is not going to kill me. So he jumps in the car with me to go down there, and these people just harassing him the whole night. Like, can you rap for us? And he looked at me like, I can't believe you got me involved in this nonsense. I was like, I just wanted to see Congo Square. So he's been looking out for me for a long time. So salute to my brother Black Thought.
I love hearing stories like that about people who do things without, you know, it's like just giving without people even knowing. So that's dope. Who else are you cool with? I love, you know, I talked to him about, it was someone else, I forget, someone about the Soulquarians, that whole crew. I think it was Black Thought, but I can't remember. But just loving, you know, and I hated that term neo soul, but it was also, to me, almost like a way to tell me what I like about soul music or R&B, the type that I appreciated. Which whether it was a gift or a curse is anyone, you know, you can debate that later. But I get a sense of the similar camaraderies now. Is this true, or is it in my brain?
That what some of the same
well, I'll put it like this. I've seen you with Common, Black Thought, Cyrock, you know, people of, you know, D-Smoke, but I don't know if there's any like formal underground, you know, we talk all the time, you know.
Well, I do know Cyrock from DC, you know what I mean? From I knew Cyrock from DC. We actually collaborated in 2014 on my mixtape. I've known Common since I actually did backgrounds on the Beat album on Love Is. So I met him around that time when him and Kanye was working on that project.
Oh, okay. My gosh. That's a minute ago.
I just happened to be, because I had moved to Philly. I was just around that circle, kind of just like learning, studying, you know what I mean? Like just kind of, you know, waiting in the wing, like Andre 3000 say, sit on these beats and wait my turn. Right. So yeah, I've crossed paths with a lot of, and I guess like minds kind of attract, you know what I mean, people who are on a kind of similar vibration. I don't know that we got like an underground, you know, cult or anything.
No, I won't say it's a cult, but you know, I just like, sometimes I just fantasize about quote unquote taking hip hop back, and and again, I'm not trying to shut anybody's voice. I'm not trying to shut anybody up. I'm not trying to kick anybody out. Maybe a few, but not too many. But for the most part,
balance it out a little bit, huh?
I want to see you, Cyrock, on the same stage at the BET Awards as everybody else. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
It'll be beautiful. And I think it'll be a balance that you haven't seen maybe ever.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Maybe since
especially for independent artists, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Like, it's a little bit more difficult, like, to really get that kind of platform when you're independent. And a lot of us have a lot of reasons for being independent, right? It used to be like, oh, you was independent because you couldn't get a deal. As opposed to, for me, like, and a lot of artists I know, I walked away from record labels and decided to be independent because I wanted to be in control of my content. I wanted to be able to make political statements. I wanted to be able to talk about issues that were not being discussed without being blackballed. I wanted to be able to keep my clothes on. I wanted to be able to raise my child. I wanted to be able to be authentic and honest about who I really was, like the full holistic person. I didn't want to have to lie about who I was to fit into the box that you could fathom and conceive of what a Black woman was like. You know, the box is so small and it's so inaccurate. Yes. So for me, independent was a way to just protect my own story. I felt like my narrative was important the way that it actually was. And if they didn't get it then, they will study my catalog later. But at least it will always be honest. You know what I mean? You'd have an honest account of what it was really like.
Right.
And, you know, I come from Baltimore. You know what I mean? I have a large range of experiences, right? And people don't really always know that about me, right? You might see one aspect or another and say like, oh, that's what she is. My mom is Indigenous. I grew up in Indigenous communities. You know what I mean? I grew up in the masjid. My mother converted to Islam. I grew up in the masjid. My dad was a big gangster, hustler, you know what I mean? Drug dealer. So I grew up around all of those. Like if you look at The Wire, I know those people.
Right,
they babysat me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I just had, and then I traveled the world because my mom is that kind of person. Like, you know what I mean? She like, we was homeschooled. She took us out of school. Like you should learn by touching the world. And nobody was doing that. Like now they call it unschooling. Before it was just like you're a bad parent. And truancy police are definitely gonna try to lock you up. And but she just gave me such a unique experience. And I'm just like, man, I would do myself and the whole rest of the world a disservice by putting that into some prepackaged microwavable box that just ain't true. You know.
You mentioned your Indigenous heritage.
Yeah.
My last name is Creekmer, so in my head, well, growing up, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. We always were like, yeah, our, you know, Creek Indians, you know, it was Indians back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never have done the research on that, so I'm not. I still to this day, I'm not sure. But can you speak on, you know, that aspect of your Indigenous, what it means, and also talk about your experience at Standing Rock. Like I know people that were out there, and that was a heavy situation. I was very concerned myself, and seeing, you know, getting like a play-by-play was almost like harrowing from afar. So actually being there was, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, you know, I always felt very connected to Native issues, being in not only that my mother's Native American, but that she's aware, she's, you know, awakened. She's, you know what I mean, very conscious, and has always like educated me on what's going on in the world, like what part the government is playing in the destruction of all these third world countries. Like, and I was clear about what they had done to Native people, how many Native people they put in these boarding schools, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you've been following that story. They're just finding bodies of all these Native children that were buried under these in mass graves at these boarding schools where they were taking them to force them to assimilate and forget their Native heritage. There are hundreds and thousands of people who identify as Black right now who were reclassified as colored in the 1830s so that we couldn't keep our land.
Right.
So when you say like, I think we are, but I'm not sure, it's the reason that you're not sure. They prevented it. It was against the law to even practice Native culture until 1978 when the Freedom of Religion Act was passed for Native people. So if you look at the census record, you'll be colored, you know, and then at some point you'll be your tribe. You know what I'm saying? If you keep going back far enough, but they reclassified everyone to strip them. And if you were dark enough, you pass as Black, you know, colored at the time. If you was light enough, maybe you pass as white. If you lived on a reservation, then, you know, maybe you still were registered with the tribe. But so my mom and my grandmother went back to reclaim the culture when it became legal to do so. So by the time I was born, I was fully entrenched in the culture. You know, I was dancing in the powwows from the time I was 4 years old. I competed. So when I heard about what was happening out in Standing Rock, and I met a sister named Queen Yonajaha at a festival with Harry Belafonte, because I knew his daughter. We had done a prison tour. We had gone through all these prisons performing and talking to the inmates and things like that, doing therapy, counseling. And so when I got there, you know, I met Sister Yonajaha, and she told me she's Oglala Sioux. And I was asking, like, you tapped in with what's going on in Standing Rock? Because I wasn't just going like, I like to be invited places. You know what I'm saying? I think it's an order to everything that you're doing. So I was like, you know, if I would like to come out and support in any kind of way I can to help raise funds, awareness, whatever. Because I know a lot of times Black people who are not aware of their indigeneity or of indigenous cultures that are living amongst them or living in the same country, they tend to think that it don't have anything to do with them, and that's not the truth. And so with my platform, I just really want to express that water is life. When the Lakota say "Mini Wachoni," water is life. Water is an everybody issue. It's not an Indian issue. It's not like, oh, that just has to do with them. No, water connects all of us, and water is becoming clean. Water is becoming endangered, and it's something that we all should be concerned about. Because when we don't have no clean water, how you think we're gonna keep living? Right. The body is 77% water. So I just wanted to bring awareness to that. So I flew my mother out there, my auntie and my cousin, and we performed and raised money for the Water is Life concert. And we took time to walk through the land and talk to everybody who had been there from the very beginning, when the first Native children ran from South Dakota to DC to raise awareness about the pipeline and that they were endangering their only source of clean water there. The same thing is happening with Pipeline 3. Next month, I'll be in Minnesota to protest Pipeline 3. We're doing a big concert fundraiser on August 18th. And, it doesn't stop. And I don't know, all we can do is keep pushing and keep raising awareness. To me, sometimes I don't understand how government entities, like how they don't care about the future of the earth. They treat it like it's something that's negotiable, and it's not. It's not for any of us. Like, unless, I know some of them plan on going to Mars. So maybe they don't care, because I don't have any interest in going to Mars. So we got to protect the earth that we have here. And that's everybody issue. Some people think it's like a crunchy granola, white person issue. It's not. Right. It is an everybody issue. When you can't breathe the air, you can't drink the water, bruh. Mm-hmm. That's everybody's issue. Right.
And it's crazy seeing people going to, exploring space and Mars. And I'm like, first of all, we have a perfectly good earth right here. This was actually created for us and perfect for us, and y'all really gonna try to, instead of doing right by it, right? Y'all gonna fly into space where you can find a morsel of maybe something that looks kind of sort of like water, or
who raised y'all?
Right? Exactly.
Where are you from? Like who does that?
It's crazy. So I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit.
Okay.
This is something we ask everybody.
All right.
Your top 5 dead or alive MCs. Mumu Fresh.
I should write this down at some point.
You got to.
Do I gotta do them in order?
No, they don't have to be in order.
All right. I'm gonna do them in order of like who influenced me, right?
Yeah.
That's hard.
It's easy. As soon as you say who influenced you,
I do the Wu-Tang Clan, but I was like, well, I can't say all of them. So who's most?
I'll give you the exception. You can say the Clan, but if you want to specify maybe one or two.
Yeah. Raekwon was influential. RZA was too. My mother used to let me study RZA's verses in homeschool as my English lesson.
Oh wow! Okay.
I would just write down the whole verse and then get the definitions: vaccination, taxation, co-education, infatuation, global. You know what I mean?
Ooh, okay. Right.
Micro-optic, microscopic, biological germ. I was like, what is this? I'll be studying that. Outkast, Lauryn Hill, Nas, Jay.
Okay.
I want to say KRS-One too, because that was even pre. My daddy put me on the KRS-One.
Yeah, KRS. He's him and I've said this in a couple of interviews of my own, and I think it's accurate. And I pray that I don't offend anybody, but Black Thought and KRS to me are the two purest MCs.
Oh yeah.
Period. Hands down.
And if you're talking about performer, Black Thought, I mean, he's the greatest hip hop performer of all time. That's how I feel. Next to Big Daddy Kane, him and Big Daddy Kane. Him. That Breath Control, it ain't like nobody. I've seen him do 3-hour shows, like never going out of breath.
Yeah,
I'm on the side of the stage, like, bruh, when is the show over? I'm tired.
Yeah. Right.
I'm hanging on to my mic like this, like, hey.
Yeah. All right. So that was a dope top 5. All right, you good. So you said some on the album. You talk about reparations. Mm-hmm. So I had, it's a hot topic. I have to ask you, are we going to ever get reparations?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I feel like we're having conversations that feel more realistic than we ever have. And really, when I wrote that song, I wanted to start this conversation, because what I keep hearing from Black people are things like, well, we would just waste our reparations anyway. And well, maybe we should just get reparations in education. Or, well, I don't know if we even need reparations. And my thing is like, there's no other ethnic group that's ever gotten reparations and had them micromanaged the way we're considering, micromanaging ours.
Yeah,
you didn't have to go back and forth about whether they deserve them, whether you're going to get them. They get them. Crimes against humanity, they get them. That's it. Yeah. It's only Black people that we got to hem and haw, and I don't know how that's going to work out. But you'll dish billions and billions out to any and everybody else, every other ethnic group. And I think we should be offended that there's even this talk of micromanaging us in this way.
Yeah.
Yes, will some people squander? Yeah, maybe. But there are lots of other people who are gonna do what they're doing already, building Black businesses, building up communities. You know what I mean? The financial literacy in our community has grown exponentially, I would say, over the past even 5 years. Yeah. I think there's a lot of promise for what economic growth can happen with a nice, a nice reparation check.
Well, they had a stimulus. The stimulus check was a snap of their fingers.
Right. Oh yeah, someone told me that too. We're working on some different reparation conversations. I think it's important that we hear the different conversation thought processes that we're having around it. And to me, to just show you, sometimes I hear us talk and I'm like, who taught you to hate yourself? You know what I mean? Why do you value yourself so little? And I think regardless, if it happens, if it doesn't happen, to me, and I've always felt like this about the government, it doesn't change how we're going to move. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether they do the right thing, whether they do the wrong thing, like they've always done, we're always going to push forward for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I like to write when I'm writing, I'm always thinking about manifestation. I'm like, I write about things in the present tense. I write about things so when you sing it, you're manifesting something, right. So that we're sparking conversation, so that we're inspiring ourselves. We talk about our trauma so much, and we live in our lack so much that in my studies of personal development, right? Because my shit is self-help for the hood. I go to all these self-help conferences and I be like, and ain't no Black people here. And that's who need the self-help the most, right? We need those therapeutic tools. So I'm always like, put it in the music. That's how we're gonna get our self-help, is if we put it in the music. We're not going to those conferences, So yeah, I want to create music where the vibration feels conducive to abundance, where you're having these conversations that feel good. The feeling, you got to start from a place of good feeling to even bring more good into your life. So that was really more my point of even doing that. That's my subliminal way of helping us to manifest, our greatness.
Who do you want to work with? You work with so many awesome people already. Who would you like to work with?
I would love to work with Kendrick, with Anderson .Paak, with her. If Andre 3000 ever make music again, I would love to work with Andre. Okay. Raphael Sadiq, I think he's an incredible producer. Yes.
We'll manifest that.
Hiatus Coyote. I really like Hiatus Coyote.
Oh yeah.
They're really dope. Boy, I'm gonna kick myself because I know I'm missing people right now, though. But I don't know. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah.
It's all good. So, I just want to say thank you for the music you make. I want to say thank you for spending time with us. You are very necessary, and you have our support. Is there anything else you have coming up, or anything you want to tell folks?
We have shows coming up as soon as we can, see what's happening with this, if they gonna keep stuff open. Or I know there's a lot of talk about uncertainty per usual, but support, go on the website, see, we'll have a list of all the concerts as they come up. I can't wait for people to see this album performed live. It's gonna be such an experience. I'm super excited about it. Go on the website, buy the music. Okay. Come to the show, buy the merch. You know what I mean? To support what we're doing, and we're constantly creating more content. We'll be shooting videos throughout the year. I mean, that's why I think the most enjoyable part of this process is creating visuals that I really feel like speak to an experience that doesn't always get highlighted. My favorite music video is North Star. If you guys haven't checked it out, check out the North Star music video, the Work of a Rap God music video, and the Back to the Money music video. We put our heart and souls into it, and I just feel like it's really important messages and content. So check it out, get familiar, share it with 10 friends.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Hopefully this won't be the last time. And
absolutely, again, I appreciate your support.
If you look, I was telling Cyrock and them, I'm like, look, give us all the information, all the secret, all the little tidbits. Like, don't be a stranger, right? Because the other, I don't mean the other side or nothing, but like people have PR people, everything's hitting us all the time at all hip hop. And I think that folks forget to just shoot that DM like, yo, I just want to let you know this play I'm doing with Black Thought is, we working on it. Hopefully it drops. And just let us know what's going on in your life. And then we can keep the flow of information going. And for us, it's exclusive content as well. So, that doesn't hurt.
Okay. Thank you. Good to know. Because I'm a person that I don't like asking for stuff. So I love an invitation.
Yeah, because that we did a news story on you and you were really appreciative. And I was
seriously.
You appreciative.
It really touched me. I was like, wow. It was so well written. And I'm telling you, I've been doing this so long and I've seen the shift. Like I remember when people were like, hey, yo, that black shit, you can't talk about that. You ain't gonna never make money with that. Hey, that natural hair, that's not what's popping. Hey, you know what I mean? Like they would pick apart everything. I'm like, look, I can't take it off. It's actually me. You know what I'm saying? Some people can take it off. Yeah. I can't take it off. That's my skin. That's my, you know what I mean? That's who I am. Yeah. And so I've seen those same people who was like, really trying to assimilate and really not fucking with Black culture, switch over.
Yeah.
And so, I'm glad whatever caused you to switch over. I'm glad you came over to this side. But I guess I had gotten so used to people not getting it, that when they get it, I don't ever take it for granted because I know what it feels like to be misunderstood all the time and for people to not get it, and for people to be so afraid to be themselves because they felt like they lose everything. And they won't stand with you in public. They'll text you in private like, yo, I love what you stand for, but they won't stand with you in public. So to see that shift kind of change, and in the article that your writer that she wrote I'm telling you that I had to send it to my mom like, yo, check this out. Like it really touched me because I could tell she meant it. Like I felt this kindred spirit with her, like, oh, you've been in the trenches too. You must know what this is like because you're writing about it from a real place. You've been in the trenches and it's a different experience. You talk about it different. You feel differently about it. I can never not be that person who been in the trenches. I seen what I seen. I can never unsee it. And so it just has shaped me differently. And I'm always appreciative when I connect with somebody else, the mind of somebody else that I know been where I've been.
So shout out to Nicole Duncan Smith. Gotta say her name. Shout out to
Nicole. I love you, Nicole. You were incredible. Your writing is incredible. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you a lot, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
All right. Peace.
All right.